warm welcome to everybody watching today. Very pleased to be joined by Trevor Sterling of Barlow, and Trevor's a partner at the firm. I won't give a long introduction. There's lots of information on the website about you, Trevor, and also on your LinkedIn profile. So we'll kick straight off with the questions. So I was looking at your LinkedIn profile. You mentioned the Signposting Pathways to Rehabilitation Project Committee. Could you just tell us a bit more about how that was set up, what the intentions were, what its aims were, and how it stands at the moment?
Yeah, so some years ago, probably about 10 years ago now, a close friend of mine suffered a brain injury and was taken to hospital. So this was prior to the advent of major trauma centres. And so I went on this personal journey with him. And it occurred to me that really, when you go down this journey on a very personal level, you understand that the value of what we do as lawyers is not necessarily understood, but also that we could do a lot more. And so I wanted to understand where there were gaps in service provision from the NHS, as brilliant as the NHS is, and then try to devise a service which filled those gaps. And so we organised a roundtable, a multidisciplinary roundtable of clinicians and therapists, etc., and just asked the question, what is it? What challenges do you face? How might we be able to better support you and the patient by utilising insurance funding? And what are the impediments? What stops that from being able to happen? And I learned a lot from it, and so devised a service which we call at Barlow the Major Trauma Service, and it's designed to fill those gaps. And primarily, there's a focus on rehabilitation, but it's really making sure we're part of the multidisciplinary team, and that we keep health outcomes and quality of life at the centre of what we do.
Right, thanks, Trevor. So I know you're chair of the Mary Seacole Trust, and of course, again, people can get on the website and read more. But it'd be interesting to hear from you about your own role as chair, what that involves, and also the work of the trust and what it aims to do.
So Mary Seacole, as many people might know, she was a Crimean War nurse, hero Jamaican lady who came over from Jamaica, having heard of the war which broke out in the Crimea, current day Ukraine. And she came to Britain from Jamaica and asked if she could go along and support the effort, which was largely being led by Florence Nightingale. She was turned down, used her own money, went out to the front line and created the British Hotel, and she supported and nursed soldiers. And why she's relevant is because of her values, somebody who's caring and compassionate. It also makes clear that the history, our diverse history, is one that goes back way beyond the Second World War. A lot of people focus on the Windrush, etc., post the Second World War, but it goes back much further than that. But most importantly, Mary was forgotten from history. We all know Florence's story, but we don't know Mary's. So I became chair following on from Lord Solian, Dame Elizabeth and many others, Elizabeth Annie onward. And they'd set up a campaign to get a statue of Mary, and I got involved towards the end of that campaign. And then I became the chair, which was about promoting Mary's legacy. So we're all about promoting the values of nurses, about being caring and compassionate in society, about being good citizens, and about promoting equality. And we've done, we've got a fantastic board of trustees, many of whom work within the NHS, but also across society. And we've come together to really inspire young people and to support those who are in the workplace to make sure that they're working in a safe space which is diverse.
Great, thanks, Trevor. Very much needed, all of that work.
Thank you. Yeah.
So regarding Barlow, I was looking at something you said on a LinkedIn post about your work there, about belonging to that firm. You said, I'm proud of our purpose, proud to be at a firm where being a lawyer means more than just law. I was quite intrigued by that. Could you say a little bit more about that?
So I suppose in some ways I'm typical as a lawyer. There's an obvious reason, I guess, because I'm one of a few West Indian lawyers, and certainly, you know, in terms of black partners at my level, that's quite unusual. My route into the profession was unusual. I left school at 16, 17, and I've now been in the profession for 36, 37 years. And it's been an incredible journey. And I've had some phenomenal highs, one in the House of Lords on the suicide case of Core. I've been involved in class actions such as group actions such as Jimmy Savile. And you know, just been involved in some really interesting work. But fundamentally, one of the things that I'm particularly passionate about, and this is what I love about my firm, Barlow, is it's more than just the technical aspects of being a lawyer. It's about, you know, giving back to society. It's about contributing to wider society. It's about being interested in the things that affect the lives of our potential clients and our clients. That's what gets me out of bed. And our wider vision at Barlow is to contribute more widely to society. And frankly, you know, I think that's something which all of us as lawyers, we have to remember that we're serving our society as lawyers, and we should want to protect individuals' interests. We should want to be involved in wider society. And so I'm really proud that that is central to my firm's vision.
Fantastic. Very refreshing to hear that. And this is a question that's related to that as well. You did a recent workshop together at your firm reflecting on your purpose, and you made the following statement, which I was quite intrigued by. Inactive agreement to racial equality is not enough. Inactive agreement to racial equality is not enough. And what came to mind in me reflecting on that was wondering, what are the active things that you think your own profession of law needs to be doing in relation to racial awareness, issues like diversity and inclusivity?
So there are a number of challenges if you're from a diverse background, one of which might simply be trying to access the profession. Because many people, when they're employing, are attracted to people like themselves. And so if you're an ethnic minority, you might be employed by somebody who's very different from you, whether it be from a race perspective or cultural perspective, and that can place you at a disadvantage. So equality of opportunity is really important, but so is equality of outcome. We see many people enter the legal profession but not be able to progress to leadership positions. So I'm really keen to make sure that we are, as lawyers, as leaders in business, active in the areas of making sure we have fair processes around recruitment. We have to understand that it's not just about diversity, it's about social mobility as well. If you require people to have a first or a 2-1, then you are excluding a lot of people like myself, who will have worked incredibly hard to have got where they've got to, but may not have that academic tick box. So recruitment processes are really important, and at leadership level it's really important to make sure that we're all aware of conscious, unconscious bias, and so training around that is incredibly important. Understanding that our views and our judgment and our values come from our conditioning, and that may actually be unfair on others. So we have to understand more about ourselves, understand more about other people, and understand that as our role in leading a business is to make sure that our business is fair for everyone, that everybody can play an active role at all levels, and that we are accessible to everyone. And we've got to take action. It's not just for me as an ethnic minority to do that. That requires everybody, because there are certain people in power who are not, in terms of the majority, from ethnic minority backgrounds, and therefore if they are inactive, we'll never be able to make structural change. And that's my point behind that. To make structural change, we all have to be active.
Great. Thanks, Trevor. I think you've answered the second part of that question about, I was sort of thinking more broadly, I had a more broad question about the profession of law in its entirety, but I was also asking about individual law firms, but I think you've answered that in.
Well, one other point I'd make, which is just, a fantastic fact of which marks history in many ways, is that we had in Christina Blacklaw's the fifth female president of the Law Society, and next year we will have the first ever ethnic minority president of the Law Society in Stephanie Boyce, and that's phenomenal. She'll be only the sixth female and the first, black leader of the Law Society, and all six of those females, by the way, have been during my career, and the Law Society was established in the early 1800s. So just go show what a landmark that is.
Yeah, that's great. You mentioned being one of the few black ethnic minority partners in law firms. Have you got any idea of the sort of numbers in relation to that?
Well, there aren't many that actually are in the profession. I haven't got the numbers. What I can say is that there are many that are working in much smaller practices. So whether it be in immigration or just the smaller practices on the high street, they are also often at firms which come under far greater scrutiny. So it's very demanding and very difficult. So to get into a mainstream firm and to make it through to equity partnership level is incredibly difficult. And certainly at my level, in my 35 odd years, I can remember every occasion that I've come across a boardroom with somebody like me on it, and that's because I never have.
Very interesting. It's quite unbelievable, really, isn't it? Career spanning 35 years. You said that. Reading about you, I think you've had a distinguished career and lots of great achievements, and that led me to thinking, what does the future hold for you? So I was thinking, how do you see your career unfolding in the next 5 years? And have you got particular things that you would like to be doing or like to be achieving in the next 5 years?
So I feel very privileged to have had the career I've had, and to do that as a father of three. And I also adopted a little girl, and I feel very proud of that. And I guess what I like is that when I finish my career, my three little cherubs will look at the work that I've done and feel that I made my mark. And by that, then I will have encouraged and inspired others to believe that if you leave school at 16, 17, you can achieve. Put in the hard work, be determined, be prepared to take some knockbacks, that's fine. Just always focus on the main goal. So I want to really leave this profession feeling that it's different from the profession that I joined, feeling that it's a diverse profession, feeling that personal injury lawyers are far more highly regarded and respected for the great work that we do. But I think the main emphasis of the final years of my career, not that I'm not on that near to the end of it, will probably be around trying to do more work in terms of leadership and coaching and bringing others in and bringing others through. I want to see more people from, in terms of social mobility, around the boardroom table. I want to see a boardroom which is more representative of the society which we serve.
Great, fantastic, good to hear. Well, that's it, Trevor. Thanks very much. That's been really, it's been really informative, and really appreciate your time to do this.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's been great, and thank you. Thank you for the interest. I look forward to hearing and seeing it.
Yeah. Cheers, Trevor.
Right. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you.